Making decisions is an essential life skill, and mastering it can impact your life, success, and happiness. Decisions, be they big or small, can shape our paths more than we can imagine. They determine what jobs we choose, the relationships we build, and the experiences we have. But decision-making isn't always so easy, and we're often scared of uncertainty, making mistakes, or whether or not we're making the right choice. Life is filled with decisions, and developing your decision-making skills will help you to navigate the twists and turns easier. Welcome to Alux, my friend. Let's talk about 15 ways to master the art of decision-making. First of all, you need to understand that this is a skill. It's crucial to understand that decision-making is not a matter of chance or talent. It's a skill that can be developed and improved through practice and learning. Just like any other skill, such as playing the piano or skating on ice, your ability to make decisions can be improved over time. Embracing this perspective is the first step in becoming a better decision maker. Imagine the decision-making process is a muscle that you can strengthen through regular exercise. Each decision you have to make is an opportunity to exercise and develop this skill. By understanding that you can improve your decision-making abilities, you're basically open to growth in this aspect of life. You should never be discouraged by past mistakes or those times in which you were indecisive. Instead, these situations can be seen as opportunities for growth and learning. If you understand that decision-making is a skill you can cultivate, you'll become more confident and effective in making choices that suit your goals and aspirations. Get comfortable with being wrong. One of the main things you have to understand if you want to improve your decision-making skill is that not every decision you have to make or will make will lead to a desired outcome. In life, nobody gives you guarantees, and many factors beyond your control can influence the results of a decision you make. Instead of being frustrated or disappointed when a decision doesn't come out as planned, look at the situation as a valuable learning experience. Mistakes and wrong outcomes shouldn't be solely seen as failures. They should be stepping stones on your path to better decision-making. When you experience a setback, take the opportunity to analyze what went wrong and why. This will help you to understand the choices you've made and their consequences, gaining experience that can guide you toward making more informed choices in the future. Always remember that even the most successful people have had some setbacks and made some errors at a certain point. What keeps them going is the ability to learn from these experiences and adapt to those that come. So keep in mind that being wrong sometimes isn't a weakness, it's just a natural part of the learning process. Avoid hindsight bias. Hindsight bias is a cognitive trap that many people fall into when trying to make a decision. It occurs when you let knowledge gained after making a decision influence your judgment and perception of that specific decision. It's so easy to go back and think, "Oh, I should have known better," when things go wrong. Think about how many times you had a decision, and after finishing that decision, your mind was filled with better things that you could have done or said. To become a more effective decision maker, it's important to keep your mind as far as possible away from hindsight bias. Instead of beating yourself up over what you found out in hindsight, focus on the information you had at the time you made the decision. Always say to yourself that you made the best choice based on what you knew then, and what you knew was somehow limited. Consider this: you can't change the past, but you can learn from it, and you should. When understanding and accepting a decision, do that by considering the information and the circumstances that you had when you actually made the call. This will help you to be more objective with your evaluation and avoid falling into the worrying trap of hindsight bias. It's all about probability. In the world of decision-making, uncertainty will always be your competition. We rarely face situations where all options and outcomes are crystal clear. Understanding the uncertainty involved in decision-making is an essential step in mastering the art of making decisions. Instead of looking for certainty where it's clear that it doesn't exist, try to make choices based on probabilities and expected outcomes. Imagine that each decision is a probability game. What are the chances of different outcomes occurring? How desirable are these outcomes? By thinking of probabilities and expected results, you can make more informed decisions that align with your goals and values. Just consider this for a moment. You're deciding whether to take a job offer in a new city. You can't predict every aspect of your future life there. But you can analyze the positive and negative outcomes that may occur. Will this job provide career growth opportunities? What's the probability of you enjoying your new city? Think of these factors, weigh them against each other, and make a decision based on probability. Pre-commit. One powerful strategy for mastering the decision-making process is to pre-commit by setting clear criteria and objectives before facing a choice. This pre-commitment acts as a guideline, helping you to stay focused on your goals and values when the actual process begins. Before making any important decision, take the time to define what matters most to you. What are your objectives? What values do you want to keep while making a decision? By establishing these criteria, you create a framework to elevate your options. For example, if you're considering changing your career, your criteria should include things like job satisfaction, work-life balance, and opportunities for growth. When you elevate potential job offers, use these criteria as a checklist to determine which options align with your goals and preferences. In essence, pre-commitment empowers you to approach decision-making with more clarity, leading to choices that are more suitable for you, your mind, and your expectations. It's a more valuable tool for becoming a more disciplined and focused decision-maker. Ask your inner circle to demolish your decisions. Decision-making shouldn't be a solitary action. It often benefits from multiple perspectives and insights. To improve your decision-making skills, try to look for advice and opinions from your inner circle of trusted friends. They can play a crucial role in providing honest feedback and evaluating your choices. Your inner circle should consist of people whose judgment you respect and who have your best interests at heart. They can offer fresh viewpoints, raise critical questions, and bring different experiences to the table. By involving them in making decisions, you gain a wider understanding of the potential consequences of your choices. But it's important to rely on your close and trustworthy friends with an open mind and be willing to accept constructive criticism. That's important. Sometimes your initial choices might be challenged, but this can lead to better informed decisions and improved outcomes in the long run. By listening to feedback from your close ones, you can refine your choices, avoid potential pitfalls, and make better decisions that can truly help you. It's a valuable step toward becoming a more thoughtful and effective decision maker. Avoid the sunk cost fallacy. It is crucial to not allow your previous investments to impact the choices you make now. Instead, concentrate on what will help you to move ahead in life. When you're making decisions, it's tempting to let your past experiences guide you. After all, they've shaped who you are today. However, it's essential to remember that each situation is unique, and what worked in the past might not be the best approach for your current circumstances. Consider your past investments, whether they were financial, emotional, or time-related. While they may have been valuable learning experiences, they shouldn't make you consider a particular course of action. Life is dynamic, and opportunities change. Your goals and priorities might have changed over time, and it's essential to adapt your decisions accordingly. So instead of thinking only of your past choices, take a forward-thinking approach. Evaluate your current situation, understand your goals, and find the best path forward. Seek advice, gather information, and make decisions based on your present needs and future aspirations. By focusing on what's best for your future rather than being influenced by the past, you manage to make choices that are aligned with your current circumstances and ambitions. Judge the quality of your decision, not the outcome. Making a good decision doesn't guarantee a positive outcome. It's important to make your choices based on the information and reasoning behind them. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, things don't turn out the way we hoped. We've all experienced situations where we made a well-thought-out decision, but external factors led to a negative result. In such moments, it's easy to feel discouraged or even question the quality of your decision-making. However, it's essential to remember that the quality of decisions should be evaluated based on the information available at the time and the thought process behind it. Even if a decision doesn't yield the desired outcome, it can still be considered a good decision if it's made with careful consideration. Life is uncertain, and there are many variables beyond our control. Sometimes even the best decisions can be affected by factors we couldn't have predicted. Instead of solely focusing on the outcome, it's best to reflect on the decision-making process itself. Did you gather relevant information? Did you consider the pros and cons? Did you make an informed choice? Make a not-to-do list. Think of actions or choices that keep causing problems and focus on not doing them again. It's crucial to learn from your mistakes and make better decisions in the future. So when you notice a particular action or choice repeatedly resulting in negative outcomes, well, it's a sign you should try to change your approach. By identifying these patterns, you can break the cycle of negative consequences and move toward more positive results. For instance, if overspending has consistently led to financial trouble, well, it's wise to avoid unnecessary purchases and budget yourself carefully. And similarly, if certain behaviors have caused a strain in your relationship, like constant arguing, you should try to communicate more effectively and find healthier ways to interact. In general, recognizing and avoiding actions that consistently lead to negative outcomes is a key part of personal growth and success. It's about making choices that align with your goals and values, ultimately leading you toward a more positive and fulfilling life. When you can't increase the outcome, will decrease the risk. In life, you can't always guarantee the result you want, but you can take steps to reduce the risks linked to your decisions. These are situations where external factors or unexpected events can influence outcomes, making you unable to control them. However, this doesn't mean you're powerless. You can still manage the risks by being thoughtful and prepared. Imagine you're planning an outdoor event and the weather is unpredictable, as it is. You can't control the weather, but you can make a contingency plan, like having a backup indoor venue or providing tents or rain gear. This way, you're managing the risk of the bad weather affecting your event's success. Now, similarly, in financial investments, you can't foresee all the market changes, but you can diversify your portfolio to spread out the risk. By doing this, you reduce the impact of a downturn in one sector on your overall portfolio. While you can't control every outcome, you have the power to reduce risk by making informed choices, planning ahead, and being adaptable. This approach allows you to navigate uncertainty more effectively and increase your chances of achieving favorable results. Work with pros and cons. When you're making a decision, it's a good idea to think about the good and bad things related to it. This can help you to understand things better. First, it's important to look at the advantages. These are the good things about each option. By doing this, you can see what you could gain from each choice. Also, thinking about the advantages can help you to figure out which option might be better for you. You can focus on what's more important. Next, you should consider the disadvantages. These are the bad things or the challenges that come with every option, and it'll help you to see the potential problems or downsides. Overall, looking at both advantages and disadvantages can give you a better view of your choices and make your decision easier. You could even list every pro and con out to see those options even more clearly. Take a step back. It's important to offer yourself the opportunity to think deeply about significant choices, especially when strong emotions are at play. When you're experiencing intense emotions, like when you're really upset or excited, making clear decisions can be quite challenging. Think of it as taking a step back from the situation. Find a quiet moment to gather your thoughts and let your emotions settle. This can help you to think more clearly and make better decisions. By giving yourself this space, you can avoid making questionable choices that you might later regret. It's like hitting the pause button on impulsive decisions. So when you're faced with a major decision and your emotions are in turmoil, remember to slow it down, my friend. Allow yourself the gift of time and a peaceful place to consider everything. Your decisions will be more thoughtful and wise as a result of this reflection. Use a methodical approach. When you have to make a decision, it's a good idea to take a methodical approach. This means carefully thinking about the decision by looking at different aspects. You can focus on the options you have, what could happen as a result, and whether it's something you can realistically achieve. Imagine it like this. Making a decision is like solving a puzzle. You have to examine all of the pieces to see how they fit together. First, think about the different choices you have. Picture each one of them as a puzzle piece. Then consider what might occur if you pick one piece over the others. That is examining the consequences. And lastly, figure out if it's possible to complete the puzzle with the piece that you've chosen. That's feasibility. By doing this step-by-step process, you're being thorough and making sure you understand the whole picture before making up your mind. It's like taking your time to solve the puzzle correctly rather than rushing through it and jamming pieces together. So next time you're confronted with a decision, take a systematic approach. Look at all of your options, think about what could happen, and make sure it's something that you can realistically achieve and live with. This way, your decision will be well-informed, which often leads to much better outcomes. Consider the rule of 10. Picture yourself thinking about the decision you're about to make, not just about the present, but also in the future. Consider how you might feel about it in 10 minutes, 10 months, or even 10 years. This will help you to gain a better understanding of how it'll affect you in the long run. Here's a way to think about it. So imagine you're planting a tree. In 10 minutes, it's going to be looking like that small sapling you literally just put into the ground. In 10 months, it's grown a little bit taller and you're starting to see some progress. But oh baby, in 10 years, that tiny little sapling has turned into a big, strong tree. When you're making a decision, ask yourself how you'll feel about it shortly after, like in 10 minutes. Will it bring you immediate satisfaction or regret? Then consider how it might affect you in the near future, like 10 months away. Will it seem like a good choice still, or would you be wishing you did it differently? And finally, think about the long-term consequences in 10 years. Will your decision lead to a strong and healthy tree, symbolizing that positive outcome you'd like? By looking at your decision from these 3 perspectives, you can make choices that align with your future goals and well-being, not just your immediate desires. It's like being a wise gardener nurturing decisions that will grow into a beautiful, strong, sturdy tree over time. And finally, use your intuition, but not too much. Intuition, which is like a gut feeling or instinct, can sometimes be helpful when making decisions. However, it's best to trust your intuition mainly when you have a good amount of knowledge and experience in this particular area. Imagine you're trying to solve a problem. If you've solved similar problems many times before, you might rely on your gut feeling to figure out the next move because you have experience. But if it's a completely new type of issue you've never experienced before, well, it's wiser to take your time and think it through carefully. And similarly, in decision-making, if you have expertise or experience in a certain field, your intuition can be a very valuable guide. It's like having a well-trained compass. However, when dealing with something unfamiliar, you need to gather information, do your research, and consider your options a lot more thoroughly. It's like having a map to help you navigate. So while trusting your intuition can be beneficial, make sure it's supported by your knowledge and experience, especially in areas where you're an expert. In unfamiliar territory, take your time to gather all the information and think over things before making a decision. This way, you're more likely to make informed choices that lead to much better outcomes. So Aluxer, here were 15 ways to master your decision-making process. Try to always consider these things when making a decision, be it in 10 minutes, 10 months, or in 10 years. Making decisions wisely can and will improve your life significantly. Thanks for hanging out with us today, Aluxer. If you found these tips useful, subscribe to our channel and find even more valuable guides. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care.